All right, let's all give a big, well, let's wait one more minute for these people to find a space.
Yeah, we need some more chairs.
Yeah.
Someone can have my chair. Are you going to sit up here, or are you going to?
I'm going to get in the back.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So I'm going to have this chair. Here. Let's go. Oh. You guys can all fight over it, but here's I don't need a chair.
Is that chair over there open? That's taken? That's open? Here's an open. Here's an open chair.
Oh. Standing room only. That's going on my LinkedIn. Yeah.
So we need.
I'm gonna. There's a couple. Still the AV people's chairs. They don't need to sit. All right. Here we go. Nice.
Hey, Mike, we're gonna need about 3 more. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
So Ryan, have you been to Dallas before?
Oh, a million times.
A million times. And what's your favorite thing? When you go back to Detroit, what do you go, oh, I wish they'd have that here?
Wish they had that here?
Yeah, that something in Dallas was in Detroit.
Oh, like yeah. Well, does Dallas have a winning football team? Is that do you guys have one? I would say the country music scene. As a blue state guy, I'm still into country music, but I love a lot of Texas local bands. You know, like some Casey Donahue, Josh Abbott. You know, little red dirt bands.
Are they going to be performing while you're here?
No, but no one ever comes up to Detroit though. None of the good red dirt bands ever come up to Detroit. So I'll go with that. Oh, and Whataburger. Whataburger's the number one thing on the list.
He just became a Texan, so all right.
I actually DoorDashed Whataburger here for breakfast. Rob knows. He got a taquito off me, but.
All right, I'm not going to take any more of your time.
Yeah, let's go. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so this is the new SERPs and optimizing for them, or as we'll soon call it, 10 blue links all below the fold. I don't know if you can read that. It says, in my day, we just had those 10 blue links. That's the way it was, and we liked it. Get off my lawn. Thanks, Dave, for that image. But first, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite topic, me. My name is Ryan Jones. I'm an SVP at Razorfish. We're a full-service digital agency, part of Publicis Group. Work with large clients like Microsoft and Samsung, Marriott, Chrysler, big brands like that. My Twitter is just @RyanJones. If I say something cool and you want to tweet it, @RyanJones. If I say something stupid, @RobWoods. Right. Here's how to get a hold of me. I also run some websites. Oh, laser, yeah, look at this. I also run SEODataviz.com, which I'll tell you all about in this presentation, even though it's not an ad for that. Server headers, SEOnews.pro, and WTFSEO.com are some of my SEO side projects, so check them all out. All right, let's get into it. Google's changing. When we started in the late 90s, early 2000s with search was like a card catalog, right? It was like, hey, how do you get to this website? But Google didn't want to be that. They wanted to be the Star Trek computer. Ask it a question, it gives you an answer. And we're seeing that with Alexa, with Google Home devices, with Siri, with Cortana, right? They want to be an answer engine, not a search engine. There's a great quote from Bill Gates in 2009. He was at a private event, and he said, the future of search is verbs. And what he didn't mean by that is people are typing verbs into search engines. But what he meant is people want to do something. They have a task at hand they're sitting to accomplish. Well, there's another great quote by Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle. It's the future's now, old man, right? That future is here. 2009 was a long time ago, and we're living in that verb future, right? So how people search has changed, right? The old way, love old guy stock photo using a computer. The old way is I'm looking for a website, and the new hipper way, here's my hipster using a computer, see how that goes, is I need an answer. I need to do something, right? So search results have changed. We moved from 10 blue links to highly contextualized search results. It's no longer just links to web pages. And arguably, when someone does a search, they might not want a web page. If I search for, what time are the Lions going to lose to the Cowboys for last week, I don't need a website with a bunch of ads and a newsletter pop up, an alert to show me send me notifications and all that stuff. I just need a number. What time is the game? Maybe years ago that was a website. Today that doesn't need to be a website anymore. It's just a fact. And search results are expanding, right? We started with a 4th paid ad. We added a map pack. We added people also ask. We added instant answers. We had image results, featured snippets, all kinds of other shit to the search results, so where they no longer look like search results anymore, right? Search results are now more than just 10 blue links. There's all kinds of other stuff in here. This is for Halloween costumes. And it gets worse on mobile. I have really bad knees. I need a knee replacement, yet I'm still playing hockey and softball and overdoing everything in life. But if you search for osteoarthritis on mobile, you get third screen of search results on your phone. The very bottom is where you finally get a blue link, a website, right? None of this stuff is a website. It's changing. It's evolving. And a lot of companies are frustrated. I love this ad from Basecamp. It's like, hi, we're Basecamp. We don't want to run this ad. We're the #1 result, but this site lets companies advertise against us using our brand. So here we are, a small independent company forced to pay a ransom, right? This is one of my favorite ads. And this is a real ad. I didn't make this up. I just took a screenshot of it. So we're seeing more space between clicks and impressions, right? Long time ago, our clicks and impression graphs used to kind of line up. And there's getting more space between the curves here as we go on over time, right? So let's look at some fun stats. I pulled these from Systrix. There's an article here. It's got a whole bunch of fun stats in it. But 28.5% of people still click the first result. Ads reduce that organic click-through rate by about 10 percentage points. So if you're not testing, on your brand name, should I be #1 for paid and natural? What's the total click-through rate of that? You should be testing that because there's some space in there to save money or to optimize more and see what those looks like. And if there's a featured snippet, the organic result sees even less clicks. So what does that look like? Well, first of all, people also ask are everywhere. This is important. They're growing, right? On mobile, people also ask are almost 70% of search results. They're there. Remember that later for a slide. Users are still clicking and still getting information. But what I found, and this is from Advanced Web Ranking. Here's the red one is the click-through rate if there's just organic ads there. And that green line is the click-through rate by position when you have organic ads, featured snippets, a knowledge panel, top stories, people also ask, and a local map pack, right? So you can see what happens. A lot of space in between there. That click-through rate drops because of the features. But I would argue when you have all those features there, that's not a transactional verb query. That's an informational query. Someone's looking for a number. They're looking for a quick factoid. They probably don't want a website. So the key is find out what those verb queries are that aren't going to show all those information and try to get the clicks for those. And I know what you guys are thinking with this data, right? I wish Eric were in this room, but it's not a conspiracy theory, right? It's really not. It's just Google users trying to help people out. And it's not going to be a zero-click world where all the clicks stay on Google because there are many things you can't do everything on Google. People want to accomplish tasks, right? They have to go off-site. There's still clicks to be had. And it's also probably not aliens. Sorry, I couldn't resist Rand's gestures there. Too similar. And SEO is not dying, right? This is not the world we're going to get to. Fun fact, if you add &num = 0 to your search result URL, you can make any query show 0 results. So if you want to send a link to your boss or coworkers and really freak them out for your brand name or something, it's a fun thing to do. They won't catch that at first. All right, so Ahrefs was nice enough to send me their top 150,000 queries that people search by search volume and give me the search volumes for those queries. So we could do some fun stuff with those queries. So these are all of the words, made a word cloud, but actually looked at the words that appear most in these queries. And so it's interesting, me, right? We're a selfish generation. It's the way the world is going. Me comes up as the most frequent word in queries. And you see a lot of these words right near the, of, to, in. And I know a lot of you are thinking these are stop words. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's really interesting to me to include the stop words because if we look at how people search, for. That's an action. That's a verb. They're looking at something for something. It tells me they want to do something, right? How, that's an action word. To can also be an action word, how to do something. So these words, like obviously near me is up there, but these words indicate intent, and that's where we want to find what are users trying to do, right? And so if we remove the common words, right, their graph kind of looks like this. Yeah, this is going to be a Halloween-themed deck. Just bear with it. Everything's going there. So if we remove the common words, right, we get near me shows up huge. Me obviously is a common word, so it's gone. But new, and you get your expected ones here, and whatnot. But that's our old way of looking at keyword research, and that's not the topic of this talk. So we just had to build the foundation. We'll get to the new cool stuff now. Our old keyword research methods are not enough anymore, right? SEO keyword tools are based on historical data. So here's a Google Keyword Planner I did last week for SEO conferences. MozCon 2021, getting searches. Do you think anybody's searching for MozCon 2021 right now? I don't, right? It's over. This is historical old data. It's no longer new, right? All the tools are doing it. Here's best Halloween costumes. And you can see old data in here. Here's a Moz one for best Halloween costumes. It includes 2018 term here. You think people are searching for that? No. This data is not good enough. Can we trust them for trending data? All right, if we look at our keyword tools, it's going to tell us that the most trending costumes are Spider-Man, Harley Quinn, Squid Game, and Poison Ivy. But are those really relevant this year, or are those the popular things from last year? According to the keyword tools, those are the popular things from this year, right? But there's got to be a better way. I love this Simpsons quote here. It's just, until now, the only way to get juice from an orange was this way. You mean there's a better way? I just love this one. Right? So, and AI, yep, here we go. AI really can't help us either. Anybody play with DALL-E, the image generator? Yeah, it's so much fun. This is what they think are the most popular Halloween costumes this year. And admittedly, some of these are pretty cool, but I don't know what any of these are. I just included this because I love playing with the image generator. There's a Twitter account that tweets it, and they just tweeted a daily one. I think yesterday it was like Elmo getting a colonoscopy, and it was hilarious. I forget what it's called, but you should follow it. Right? So, keeping with the Halloween ghost theme, there's a quote from Bill Murray. The past is gone. I know that. The future isn't here yet, whatever it's going to be. So all that there is this, the present, that's it. I couldn't resist getting Ghostbusters in here, so I'm forcing that. But Bill Murray's right. We have to look at the present. When COVID hit, it taught us something really interesting. User behavior changed. The way people search changed overnight. Nothing more indicative of that than we had a cruise company, right? So their searches completely changed when COVID hit. But everything changed. And it became really clear to us that the future no longer resembled the past. We could not make decisions on the future based on past data because it just wasn't the same thing anymore, which is how we've always historically done stuff. So we needed a new way. And at our agency, we called that Now Forward. Our CEO did a thing on it. I won't claim that he stole it from me and the search team, but we were talking about it first. But we call it Now Forward. What do we know from now going forward? Because historical data is not good enough. So we need a Now Forward approach, needs more updated data. And so Jeremy mentioned it earlier in the keynote, talking about like scraping suggestions from YouTube, right? Well, look at this data. There's no 2018s in here. There's no 2021s in here. And look at the people also asked data. Again, there's nothing old in here. Google updates this stuff way more frequently. And you can test it yourself. If you were to pay a bunch of people to search the same query, you'd get it suggested in Google Suggest, or you could get that question to show up. I know a black hat years ago used to make a ton of money on this. He couldn't rank for a UFC fight that night, but he could rank for a 6-word query about that UFC fight with a throwaway domain name, no problem. So he'd pay a whole bunch of people on Mechanical Turk and Amazon's thing and whatever to type that query in, and he'd get it suggested the day of the fight. His affiliate site would make a ton of money. Google would ban him the next day, but he still already made his thousands and thousands of dollars off that one fight, that one affiliate link by doing the suggest ranking. Right? So our new approach needs 3 key principles. 1, we got to blend old data and new data for our Now Forward approach. We don't want to completely throw out the historical data, but we need to look at new data. Number 2, we don't want to get data overload. So let's use the Pareto principle and easily surface the actionable insights. What is the 80% or the 20% of stuff that's going to drive 80% of the results? And principle number 3, clients hate spreadsheets. So let's not use spreadsheets. Right? Oh, and let's layer in some natural language processing too, so that we can move from keywords to concepts. Because with concepts, we can optimize for the concept without needing to know all the keywords or the future keywords that someone might put in. As long as we know what they're trying to do, we can optimize for that. And so one of the things we're going to use in this is n-grams. So an n-gram is just basically, it's the most basic form of natural language processing ever. It's what you do with tokenization before you actually start to do the cool stuff. But for our talk, we're going to stick with that. And an n-gram is just every n, 1, 2, 3, combination of words. So, and unigrams is every word. A bigram is every 2 letter. This is a sentence, right? And then a trigram would be this is a sentence, etc. Right? Every combination of words together. You can get more advanced by getting rid of the id, is and then you'd have like this sentence as a bigram left there, right? Which we'll get into all that. All right, related keywords. You can scrape this. My next talk is coming up at PubCon, so that's a teaser here with PubCon data. But this is all the code it takes in Python, right there, to scrape recursively 3 levels deep all of the related keywords in Google. Right? You can find easy scripts like this, but if you can write 20 lines of code, you can scrape this keyword, led to this keyword, led to this keyword in related search, and you can start playing with all that data, and it's like 27 lines of code. I did that for you on SEODataViz.com. If you go there, there's a bunch of tools. I'm not trying to shill my thing, but for the purposes of this talk, It's a free tool. You don't pay any money. You can get this answer the public type wheel with all the questions. This is Halloween costumes. You can see all the questions about, what, how, what. You can also get some cool charts, which I'll show you in a minute. You can even scrape people also ask questions. I didn't build that for you. This is a Halloween question. What's wrong with my brownies? I found that funny that trended at Halloween last year. So we're using that one this year. Yeah, we're going to go with that. But we built the scraper in-house to scrape all this data. And if you look on GitHub, you can find some tools that'll do this for you. There's actually a couple tools. I built this in-house and I mentioned it at a conference last year. And there's a tool out there, I forget what it's called, but it actually looks exactly like this. So I wonder where he got the idea from. Yeah, but he uses the same formatting. So I don't know. Whatever. All right. So this is also what SEO DataViz does. But we take that data, that related keyword data, that people also ask data, and break it down into n-grams. And so instead of actual keywords, right, like no one actually just searched near me or movies in, but now we can start getting ideas and we can get topics that we're looking at, right? And here's the links. You can do this with your own. You can do it with your own keywords here at this list. You can do. Google has a NLP API you can play with for free over there. Lots of cool resources here. But break it down into n-grams, and we can actually look at what are the topics that arise. And there's a whole bunch of stuff we can do it. So here's that top 150,000 keywords that Ahrefs sent us that it's broken down into n-grams. So we can see, that's way too much data overload, right? We can't do anything much useful with this, but I thought it was cool to look at. So we can see, just the amount of people that are looking at, weather and news versus porn. It's some interesting stuff in here. But we can compare it to page content. So this is an example of looking at the page content of Blue Apron on the left with the keywords that they identified they want to optimize for on the right. So we took all their keyword research, put it in this one. Here's the n-grams, meal delivery, right? Food delivery. That stuff, shows up. But here's the actual content of their website. It's, hey, log in or log out, we ship wine, right? That's probably not what they want to go after for their consumers. So why is this useful? Well, if I give a client a spreadsheet of here's what you're ranking for, here's what you should be, that doesn't resonate. When I tell a client, here's the stuff you said you want to go after, here's kind of what an algorithm looks at your website and thinks it's about. Is that what you want? Instantly this works, this resonates. They're like, no, we don't want people to think log out, we ship wine. But that's all the copy that was on their page. That's all they talk about. So this instantly sold them on, yeah, we got to redo the copy. We got to change our strategy. This method works, right? So let's talk about going beyond that. Trends start on, how am I doing on time here? I got, what, on 3:50? Is that my time? I can slow down then. All right, maybe eat some gummy bears. So yeah, I have a tool that does this too on SEO DataViz. You can type in 2 URLs and you can get the copy analyzed. Built it for free. Go ahead, play with it, whatever. Click the ads, make me some money. Trends start on TikTok. Is this an animation? Yeah. So if you search for Halloween costumes on TikTok, they give you all these nice little, hey, discover all this other stuff that people are talking about related to Halloween costumes, right? There is no tool out there that gives you TikTok data. We met with TikTok at our agency a couple weeks ago about buying paid ads, right? Because TikTok's the new thing. You can buy paid ads now and you can bid on keywords. They have 0 tools for advertisers to actually help you figure out what keywords to bid on. You just kind of go enter in what you want. And when we brought that up with them, they were like, what? I'm like, how have you not hired anybody that used to work at Google or Bing? Just hire one person. They'll tell you what to do, but no. So, of course, I got bored the other day and it took me about a half hour, but I made a scraper to scrape all this stuff. It literally goes through, it finds every one of these, clicks on each one, sees what shows up for that, does it recursively a few times, and then breaks it down into n-grams and shows me my graph. This is not public. I built this internally, but it took me, a couple hours total to get it nice and pretty like this. But it's something you can easily do if you know how to scrape websites. I may put this live. I haven't decided yet. I'm just having my team hammer it out now to see if TikTok bans me for hitting their site so much, and I'm sure it's going to happen. But you can see with the costumes in here, Tinkerbell, Pennywise, fairy costume, dark fairy, right? This is very different stuff than we were looking at earlier with our keyword tools on Google and Moz and whatnot. Very different costumes. So, and remember those. Remember fairy and Tinkerbell and Pennywise and it, right? Remember that later. We'll get to that. But this isn't enough. We got to go further than this. So how do we go further than that? Well, let's look up the relationships between terms. Let's look at what term suggests a term with something else in it, and what words often co-appear together. And then let's graph them like a network, right? So the way we graph that is, hey, a term with this term suggested a term with this term. So let's link, right? Carnival Cruise suggested a term with Carnival Cruise deals, right? So Carnival and Cruise both link to deals because a term with that word in it suggested a term with that word in it, right? And then, all right, Cruise and deals showed up in the same keyword, so they'll be the same color, but discount didn't show up in the same keyword as deals, so they'll be different colors, right? That's the process for making this graph. And then we can start to look at not just what people search for, but how people search in terms of entities and n-grams. And you can do this there's a free program called Gephi, gephi.org, you can get it. It's kind of a learning curve, but you really just need a graph of this thing points to this thing over here. And for those that follow me on Twitter, I do this every year with college football rankings. I will take every team and I make a graph of losing team points to winning team. So it's like a link from the losing team to the winning team for college football. And then I will use Gephi to run PageRank over that whole web graph that I just created. And it'll give me the PageRank of every team. And then I can bet accordingly based on PageRank. And I hit about 80% based on the PageRank method on betting on games last year using that. So I post that on Twitter if you want the results. I do it like every few weeks. But it's really reliable. But all you're doing is making a graph here of terms too. This term led to this term, et cetera, right? Gephi's the free way. There's cooler tools out there. There's a tool out there, and I'll share it with this room, but please don't tweet it because this is our advantage for pitches right now that we're using for clients. But this tool is called InfraNodus, INFRANODUS, InfraNodus. It costs me about 50 euros a month, whatever that comes to in US dollars, because I think it's by a dude in Russia. But it's open source too, so we started paying for it, but then we just took his open source version and put it on our own servers, and we're like, yeah, let's go. Thanks for the code, bud. We'll do our thing with it. But it does what I was talking about with linking terms, and you can pull data in from Google, from Twitter, from your own data sets, whatever. It's really cool, really powerful, and you can see how people search. And I know this is that graph I was showing in Carnival, right? This term led to a search with this term, but they didn't include the same words, so they're different colors, blah, blah, blah. But you can find insights in there. And so this is an example for Blue Apron, right? What kept showing up in the data was make dinner easy. And you can see because they're different colors, nobody actually searched make dinner easy. That wasn't a thing anybody typed in. But when you ran all the keywords people were typing and what suggestion led to what and what questions people are typing in, that topic just popped in the data set. And it really informed our content strategy of like, oh, people just want to make dinner easy. Like, that's what we need to talk about. That's the problem we need to solve. Forget about we ship wine. Forget about like home meal delivery kits. Yeah, we still got to rank for that. But in our content, to close the sale, how do we make dinner easy? That's what we need to focus on. And it worked. And we wouldn't have got that insight because no keyword research tool had make dinner easy in any suggestions. Right? So here's that Ahrefs data again for the top 150,000. Login's a popular keyword, but what are people actually trying to do when they log in? Well, I can tell you that based on the occurrence of keywords, right? The most popular thing people want to log into is Amazon, which tells me that they need to probably make their login more findable or whatnot. But you can see what people are trying to do with login, and you can get an idea of what's popular. You can focus that on any term you want. This is kind of a boring example, but I didn't want to go too in depth here, right? So let's compare our best costumes. Traditional keyword research tools, Moz, Google Keyword Planner, etc. This is what they say, right? These are the top results. Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Spider-Man, Squid Game. Our TikTok combined with our search suggestions and people also ask data gives us Tinkerbell, Fairies, Ravens, Pink Bunny, I have no idea what that is, and Jeffrey Dahmer. Which ones do you guys think is correct? Oh, okay. 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 Yes, the HBO show is hilarious, by the way. And so, well, we know the answers, right? Because Google put out Frightgeist the other day, and it tells us what's popular, right? And so, yeah, Spider-Man's still popular, and so is Harley Quinn. But also, so are the other things that showed up. It showed up in our TikTok data, right? Didn't show up in keyword research. Fairy, number 5, showed up in our method, didn't show up in any of the old keyword research methods. Tinkerbell, right? Showed up in the new method, not the old method. So the new method that we were just talking about got a lot more of these right than the old tools did. So this is my proof that it worked. Thanks, Google. They just put this out like a couple days ago, and I had this in this deck, and I had to redo it the other day because I'm like, oh, look, they proved me right. So awesome. All right. So, oh yeah, we have plenty of time. I want to leave time for questions. So how do I earn these new results? Because that's kind of what I teased you guys with the topic, and I haven't talked about that yet. So let's get into that. I used the method first. And I said, all right, what does my audience want to know? So I ran our method. I ran our keywords through InfoNotice, and I said, all right, people are looking for how to appear and how to write content. I hope I talked a little bit about how to write content, but we'll get to it. You guys are interested in lots of questions about schema and content length. At least that showed up in our research. And people want data and examples, so I hope I hit on the examples part. But remember, this is about verbs. Anybody remember Schoolhouse Rock? I love, oh, nice. We got a, I don't want to say older audience here, but none of my new hires remember Schoolhouse Rock anymore. I'm old too, yes. All right, so verbs, right? Simple cheat sheet. I'm trying to force in scary movies. Anyway, verbs, identify the questions and needs, right? Bill Gates said it, people are trying to do something. That's our area to rank. Figure out what people are trying to do, whether it's make dinner easy, whether it's figure out what the trending Halloween costumes are. Those are our content ideas that are going to resonate. And then we need to answer them in a unique and useful way. How many people are using AI for their content right now? Good, it's minimal, right? AI has its uses, right? It has its uses, but as a user, I don't want to read an article completely written by AI that's going to tell me what the best Halloween costumes are for this year. I want an actual human's input and insight, because AI cannot create a new idea, right? It just can't pull an idea out of nothingness like we people with gray matter can. So Google, and you see that in Google's algorithms, they're cracking down on the AI type stuff. They're trying to find those long form articles, right? And AI has uses. You want to automatically generate, alt attributes for millions of images, right? Like, yeah, you can probably use some AI to do that, right? That's not something I would waste resources of a human doing unless it's really important. So answer in a unique and useful way. Useful is the key, because if you pull any SEO, they're going to tell you my content's useful, right? But is it really from your user's point of view, or is it from your point of view and what you want them to think? Remember, SEO is pull marketing, not push marketing. The users are telling us what they want. We just have to give it to them. It's not, here, this is what I want you to do. They're telling us what they want to do. It's easier. And then add schema and make them crawlable. And that sounds like a really simple statement, but I can do a whole hour-long presentation on adding schema and making your stuff crawlable, your information crawlable. I work in auto right now, and if you search for any car, you'll see all them stats show up on the right-hand side from Google, like here's the MPG and the horsepower, blah, blah, blah. Every auto manufacturer pays a company, either Chrome or Cars Auto or I forget the third one. They pay for that information. But we don't show it on our website, because if we're not, and I work for, I have worked for every auto company except Toyota I've done as a client in the past 20 years or so. So when I say we, I mean every auto company. We don't do a good job of showing that on our website. If we're not best in class MPG or towing capacity, auto company's not showing you that. They don't want to show it. They don't care, right? If they're best, they'll put it all over the website. And Google finally got so frustrated with that they bought their own Cars Auto subscription, and they started showing that data on the right-hand side because they couldn't get it off our websites. That's a missed opportunity. Don't be the next auto company that doesn't provide your own data that you own so that Google goes and pays someone else for it, right? Don't do that. All right, so where do we start? Anybody remember Punnett squares from high school? When you're talking about, like, will my earwax be brown and sticky or yellow, or if I have a baby, or cleft chin, right? All that stuff. Punnett squares the same way. Branded, non-branded, objective, subjective. Everybody knows objective, subjective. If you don't, subjective is an opinion, objective is a fact. So best goes into subjective. But, what's the MPG of a Dodge Charger? That's objective. There's only one number right there. Start with the branded objective space. There is nobody better to own facts about your company or your business than you. And you would be surprised how many companies do not own the factual queries, the factual questions about their own products and their own companies. There are so many websites that exist just answering the questions that you, the expert, the owner of it, won't answer. And then branch out into subjective and whatnot. And subjective can be hard, because if I'm Samsung, I can't say best TVs, right? Like I can't call, mine the best over anything else. I got to have the legal thing to support that and to back it up. But what I can say is our best TVs for watching sports. I can say that, right? I can say our best sports TVs or our best outdoor TVs, right? and I can set my website up that way. And we did that for Samsung. If you look at it, they have a page for our best sports TVs and our best, this type of TVs, and it actually works. But start in the branded objective, and then move out to the harder areas. Also, for branded subjective, a lot of people sometimes don't want your opinion on how good you are, right? So sometimes that's just an area to ignore, because of course I'm awesome. I'm going to tell you I'm awesome, but it's much better if Christine tells you I'm awesome. Which thank you. All right, so do's and don'ts, right? I don't know if I want to read this, but do include schema, make it simple and direct, easy to understand. Do your research about existing questions people are asking. But also, if you're trying to rank for people also ask questions, someone's already ranking for a question, it's really hard to steal that question from them because they're ranking for it. You can steal it with better content, but figure out another question that's related using the methods we just talked about and go for that question. Figure out the next question people are going to ask. It's a little harder, but do your research and get that new question to show up in there. Figure out where people are going, not where they've been. Boring Wayne Gretzky quote, et cetera, et cetera. Include your FAQs, whatever. Anyway, don't worry about domain authority. You can get all these featured snippets and results being a less authoritative domain as long as you just answer this stuff well. Don't stress over formatting like, oh, it's just got to be a bulleted list or a paragraph or a table. Right? That used to matter a lot. It doesn't really matter that much anymore. Don't worry about content length, right? Your recipe doesn't need to be 30,000 words. Just provide the value. And that's, everybody read the stories, but people are searching TikTok now for over Google, right? That Forbes story that just came out, like, oh, TikTok's the new search. People searching recipes on there, right? Yeah, because they don't want grandma's history of making her gnocchi before they read the recipe. They just want to know it's potato and salt, right? And how much potato, how much salt, right? TikTok's giving it to them in that format, and so that's why people are searching that on TikTok now and not on web, right? It's time we go back to that on web. Don't spam your schema. We went through this with auto clients a long time ago. Like, oh, well, can we show the MPG from this model and the towing capacity of this model? And like now all of a sudden you got a car that doesn't exist, and you're showing all the stats from it. You'd be surprised how many people do that in other areas. Don't do that. Don't cheat your schema. You'll get banned from all schema showing up. Don't steal content. Blah 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 blah. Right. So this works. Here's a client we did this for, and you can see this is from Bright Edge, but page 1 rankings. Yay! Quick answers. People also ask, right? We got a lot of value out of that just by working on this strategy, trying to go after these questions. We've been using this approach for a long time with great success. Here's a client we started in 2020 doing this approach, and you can see the results of that. Another client in 2021 did the same approach. I'm having trouble getting you recent examples of this because we've been doing this stuff so long for clients that I don't have any recent examples, but it works. This one's a little more recent, but you can see right here, featured snippets. People also ask questions, right? They had none, and now all of a sudden they're getting significant traffic, right? 100,000 impressions a day from it. So this method works. Okay, so I'm gonna leave time for questions, but I want to leave you guys with a couple fun insights here based on this method. So this year, Halloween, sexy fairies, on trend. Sexy Jeffrey Dahmer, not on trend. If you're wondering what not to give out for Halloween, raisins are clearly the worst Halloween candy, according to our data set. And if you're dressing up your dog, he wants to be a Star Wars character. And here's one more look at these awesome costumes, because I just think these are great. But that's me. That's all my spammy websites and how to get a hold of me, and thank you.
Let's give a big hand. All right, we have some time for some questions. I have a mic, and you have a hand up, so there you go. Although I don't know if the yeah.
So that tool you mentioned in the info notice,
Uh-huh.
How do you spell that? 'Cause I could not find it.
INFRANODUS. If they might have moved to Notice Labs, might be their new website. I'm not sure because I took their. It's still for Notice? Okay.
Or was it
DUS. Yeah.
Look at a lot of government websites.
Yeah. Infra like infrared and Notice like NODUS. I can't think of something like Notice. We have a question here? Yeah.
Yes.
My question is, from a B2B perspective, does this approach, or have you tried this approach with LinkedIn?
I can do it with LinkedIn. I have not. That is a great idea. So I have built a tool that does Google and Bing, Amazon. Those are both public. You guys can all play with those on the website, SEO Data Viz. I just built a TikTok one. I haven't put it out public yet. I'm building a YouTube one, but LinkedIn is interesting to me, and I kind of want to do that now. I got to see how hard it is to scrape it and get that data, but I like that. Yeah. I'll give you a link. Tweet me or something, and I'll give you a thank you link on whatever page if I create that. I don't care.
Yes.
What are you using for scraping?
A whole bunch of things. I have a whole bunch of Python scripts on the command line on my computer that I can just run and get related queries, and just creates a CSV on my desktop of tons of queries for I want with one command. Again, that was that 27 lines of code I showed you here. But I also online. I'm using. I'm a PHP guy. My background before SEO was software engineer. I learned LAMP stack, PHP, whatever. I have a ton of side websites, so I'm using a version of Puppeteer in PHP, which actually physically pulls up Chrome on my server and goes to the website and does what I need to do, and then feeds the results back to me in a nice little format that I can then parse. No. So the easiest way to scrape Google-related queries is basically there's that auto suggesting that Firefox uses for a search box. So there's a URL you can go to, and it just spits out JSON results. And so if you basically have Chrome go, say I'm Firefox and I need related searches, you can spam the hell out of that, and they don't ban you because it's really a browser looking for related searches on the back end. They can't tell the difference. So yeah. So if you use Puppeteer or Phantom or something, in that case, you're actually a browser asking for related queries, and it looks exactly the same as every time you type in your Firefox or Chrome on your desktop. So if you do it that way, Google can't stop you. Which I'm not doing for TikTok, so I'm waiting for them to ban me. That's why I didn't share that tool. If they do ban you, there's a tool out there called, I forgot what it's called, Scraping a Robot or something, and it's like an API where they have a whole bunch of browser servers that you can use to scrape and feed the results, and it's really cheap. It's only a few cents per 100 scrapes. So there's some tools out there.
One more question.
No. Well, if anybody wants to geek out or talk, I'll be around. I'll be at the dinner tonight. I think I'm out of WTF SEO stickers. I might have 1 or 2 left. I'll see. I didn't reorder for this. But WTF SEO is mine and Rachel Hesseltine's satire blog. So if you haven't been there, it's fun. We make fun of everything and everybody. Cool.
Let's give him a big hand.
Thank you. Thanks. And I got you guys out 7 minutes early. Look at that. Yeah.
No, that was one.